Okay, hi. Welcome to the class of directing school. Now, the key is to make something memorable. If you just want to look cool, if you just want to have action, if you just want to have drama, if you just want to have comedy, you're going to be fine for 2 to 3 months, and then you're going to be on the back of the bus. That's how it works. But you need to be memorable to win an Oscar. Yeah. So, if you focus on just being comedy, on just being drama, on just being action, then you will just be those things. But if you be memorable, then you become something else entirely, Mr. Wayne. Legend, Bruce. Legend. So let's break it down. How are we going to deconstruct and construct a memorable masterpiece? Well, this is how we're going to do it. First, you need a cast and a story and a setting. So design yourself a setting, a cast, and a story. Spend some quality time. These are not the most difficult challenges you will face. Think of a setting. 1800s, medieval times, Dark Ages, Renaissance years, future, fantasy world, Earth, space, dinosaurs. Think of a setting. And your entire world is going to be based on that setting. Plan out the locations where you're going to film it, what props you're going to need to use, what special effects you're going to need to use. That's the setting. It's really logical. It's just process of elimination when you make a setting. Then you got to build a cast. So tie this in with a story. Start writing a story. And the story is the most important, so we'll get into that next. And then think of a cast. Start auditioning members who look like they will fit the role of your movie. Not just who's going to fit the role of the character, but who's also going to fit the role of the film. That's how you make art and beauty. So, you got the setting, you started interviewing the cast, and now you need the story. And once you have the story, then you're going to direct and act. And then you're going to edit at the end, compose music, and you have your final masterpiece. Just like that. Just like that. Assuming you have the budget as well. So when you write a story, you want to try to not be cliche. And here's why. When you write a book, when you write an article, when you do any sort of journalism, you can afford to be cliche because that grabs people's attention for a short amount of time. You see what I'm saying? For a short amount of time, it's good to be cliche. But when we go to the movies, we sit there for 2 to 3 hours. You cannot drag on something that's very cliche, something very typical, something very expected, and drag it out and hope to entertain us for 2 to 3 hours. That's not why we want something complex. We want something intellectual. We want something stimulating, something engaging, something mysterious, something analytical. We want to activate our analytical minds, not just our artistic minds. So try to be unique when you develop your story. For example, I'll use an example from the new TV show X-Men 97. So when I'm a Marvel director myself, but I didn't work on X-Men 97. So in X-Men 97, the theme is, of course, the X-Men, right? And here's one small change that you can make to make it more memorable. Everybody knows the common theme of X-Men is that mutants don't fit in with society. Society sees, and superheroes in general, as a threat. So mutants and superheroes are seen as a threat to society. And the humans are trying to build these sentinels to eliminate the mutants, collar them so they lose their powers, or trap them, perform experiments on them. You know, that's the whole scope of X-Men. It's been like that for like 100 years. But that's maybe good for like a short amount of time. People do not really care what happens to mutants over 3 to 4 hours. People care what happens to humans over 3 to 4 hours. Now, you can still keep the story based on the mutant main characters, but make it more relatable to the human side. Because when you tap into the raw themes of human emotion, the fundamental values that humans hold, like love, anger, death, grief, passion, underdog, overcoming adversity, injustices, conflict, personal battles. If you bring out these themes into the scope of your movie, then it makes your movie so much more powerful, rather than just like the mutants don't fit in. That's cool for 10 minutes. You know what I'm saying? You can have a scene exactly like that, where you have the mutants don't fit in for 10 minutes. But if you need 2 hours, you gotta do something with the themes that matter to mankind. And how do you do that? It's not that hard. Because here's the thing. If we talk about like a personal battle, or love, or anger, or grief, or passion, you could write 1,000,000 pages on just that emotion. So you don't gotta do everything. Just think about that theme and throw it in for 3 minutes at a time in the movie. 3 minutes here, 2 minutes there, 1 minute there, and that's it. Then do another theme, a hardcore theme. Throw it in there, 3 minutes here. Now, you probably didn't pick the best material in the whole world, but you picked something to be in that thematical element. So it's got to be rooted in the foundational human values, regardless what type of movie you do, and only throw it in a bit here and there. That's when I produce my works of art. I always throw in those themes that, like, I didn't write the encyclopedia, but I threw in a little bit here and there, and that makes it more memorable. And then lastly, when you direct, once again, you don't want to be niche for your movie, because that's not going to hold the attention for a long amount of time. Long amounts of times are built up with real human values and struggles and conflicts and adversities, real human emotions. Those hold attention for long amounts of time. So when you direct, once again, you want to be not too fake. Not too fake. And what I mean by that is over directing. If you have some big scene coming up and you show the tire, then you show close-up face, then you show the big camera, then you show someone's foot coming in to kick someone, and you do all these cuts and everything, you're adding fakeness to it. You can do that for the scenes that are slow, and for the scenes that are fast, you get out of the way. You want to make it more real, you need to allow all the other elements to come to fruition to the most of their potential. Which means, like, you have good acting, you have good effects, you have good editing, you have good score, good music, you have good sound effects, you have a good setting, you have a good scene. Let all these elements come alive. You have good costumes, you have good voicing, you have good sound. Let all these things be pulled to the maximum, and the camera is as least invasive as possible. Sometimes the camera can enhance, but you got to determine when you need the camera to enhance the screen, to enhance the scene, and the camera to not enhance the scene. Think of the camera as a character. So throughout the entire movie, the camera is one character, and the camera needs to fit in with the movie. So think of it as a real life sequence. You have this scene and this scene and this scene and this scene, and the camera comes in at like a side angle into the real scene. The camera can't be the main angle. The main angle can't be the camera. The camera comes in at just an angle, an indirectness to what's really happening. Because the camera is not the main character, it's a character, but it's a minor character. So you don't want to over direct. You want to pretend that the scene is happening in real life, that the movie is one long play in real life, and the camera is just a side character being non-intrusive. And that's it. If you get all those pieces together, real human values, not just nicheness, get a setting, get a cast, get a story. And the story, once again, it's got to be complex, it's got to be detailed, the story is 2 to 3 hours. No one wants to sit 2-3 hours for a poor story. If you're just trying to make comedy, drama, and action, I'm not gonna watch it. I watched that when you're 14 years old. 14-year-olds can get into that, not me. You need to have a well-scripted story and have all these pieces at least trying to accomplish the film. You see? So that's how you would do it. I'm pulling muscles everywhere. This is the Australian rugby rules hat. Australian rugby. So that's how you would make a film from top to bottom. Now everybody has to play their role. Yeah. Okay. Bye. I'm pulling too many muscles. So I did singing, and then I pulled my muscles from singing. So I see you at the Hollywood Rose Bowl, where it's college football rules. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? The Hollywood Bowl. Texas versus North California. LA versus Texas at the Hollywood Rose Bowl. On the red carpet.